I am. So I feel like you guys have really challenged me. For me to be here at 6 a.m., that meant I had to be up early, but don't worry, I'm used to getting up early. Um, but good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I'm really excited. I was gonna give people 15 minutes to join, but I want to jump right in because I recognize that it's really early and I want people to be able to maximize the time and be able to use it wisely. So that's why I'm just jumping right in. For those of you that maybe you wanted your friends to join and they're not able to, one thing that we are doing is I am having it streamed on my YouTube page. It's a very new page, but it allows people to just be able to join and watch again if they can't watch during this session. So just to say that for anyone that might be thinking, oh, you know what? I really, really wanted to be a part of this. So it will be, somebody said 5:12 Edmonton. Wow. If there's anybody else that is on a different time zone, maybe much earlier, I had one of my friends message me. She is in Alberta. I think she might be here as well. She said it's 3 hours behind for her. So I was like, wow. And she said she's going to be joining. So honestly, I don't take the time that we are prioritizing for granted, which is why I said to myself, I'm just going to jump right in and start quickly for everyone. Now, for anyone that might be here, I want to say that this vision board is, I'm really doing it from, I'm a Christian, and I'm doing it from a faith-based perspective, not to say that if you're not Christian, you might be able to pick something one or two from it. But the truth is, I always say to people, I cannot do a vision board without the perspective of my faith. So it's a very strong part of what I believe, and it probably drives every single thing that I do. So I wanted to echo that for anybody that might be here, but please listen with an open mind because I mean, I teach vision board not just to different kinds of women, different kinds of people. So I believe that anyone will be able to pick something from this. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, being here. And please, you guys help me. It's 6 a.m. So I need you to keep me going. Let me know you're here by putting messages in the chat. It's also being streamed on YouTube for some people that may not be able to join on Zoom. You can also put messages in the chat. I have my admin kind of there also helping as well. At any point, I hope that this session will take us about an hour, 30 minutes. Now, what I'm really focusing on is how to do the vision board. I will give you the tools. And what I hope is that in the next 3 days, before the year ends, you will intentionally spend time doing it yourself. I'm also going to be doing mine. So I'm being accountable to everybody here. I started doing mine earlier this month, sorry, in December. I started doing mine. So I'm going to also be doing over the next 3 days. Now, for somebody that might be watching this later, it's never too late to do a vision board. You can do it anytime in the year at any point. It doesn't really matter, but I will arm you with the tools. So my hope is that you can go away over the next few days and do yours. You can do it before the end of the year, or you can also do it. I always try and do it the first 2 weeks of the year as well, because when the year gets busy, you can only add to it. I mean, most times you can add to it, but it just makes it kind of, you have to then find the time, So that's what I'm doing here. So for those that are trying to find out how long is the time commitment, just give or take, I would say an hour, 15 minutes now, we should be done. Okay, fantastic. Okay, everybody. Has anybody here done a vision board? Please let me know in the chat. Anybody here done a vision board? Admin, I'm gonna put off my camera because I think I need to wipe it again and then I'm gonna put it back on. Anybody here done a vision board? Please let me know. Somebody said yes, but not systematically. Okay, I am back up. I think my camera is better now. Somebody here said yes, but not systematically. That is interesting. Somebody here said yes. Orna said yes. Uh, somebody here said no. Okay, I see all of the replies. Thank you so much for that. It's fine. It's great that you are saying that you haven't. So I'm gonna try and make this very personal. because I feel like when things are personal, people are able to kind of I would say pick up on it, and be able to apply to it quicker. So I mean, I will share a personal story with you. If admin can please give me the right to kind of share my screen, that will be great as well, please. Okay, I will share a personal story with you. Um, I did my first my first vision board in 2019, and some people that are here might have heard this story before. When I did my first vision board, I was, in fact, in context, I'm going to show you a picture of my first vision board. I was broke. I was frustrated. 2018, actually, I was broke. I was frustrated. I was in a very dark place in my life. 2 years before that, I had started a business. And what that meant was, obviously, I was a new entrepreneur. I had transitioned from being in a career to a new entrepreneur. I had also started doing a few things on the business. But what that meant for me was that I had also been in a lot of debt. So I was in a lot of debt. Let me say this to you. They always say that the best people to do vision boards are maybe people that are thriving and you're trying to challenge yourself. Well, but that's a lie. Because the best people to do vision boards are people that want to change the direction of their lives. They kind of want to change the way things are. You know, and I was in a very, very low place in my life. In fact, I will share the picture once my laptop is able to allow me. I was in a very low place in my life. And um, what that meant for me was, in fact, I had booked, it was in January 2018. I had paid for the vision. Let me correct myself. I didn't even have money to pay for the vision board session. One of my friends was doing a vision board event. And what he meant was that you had to pay for it. It was like a ladies' hangout, right? So you had to pay for it. Please let me know you can hear me to make sure my network is not okay. Okay. So
We
you had
can
to
hear
pay
you.
for the event. Okay, perfect. We had to pay for the event, and I was so broke I couldn't pay for the event. That was how broke I was. And it's funny because when the day of the vision board, I then told myself, you know what, I'm not even going. Yes, thank you so much, admin, for helping me. This is what I look like in my first vision board. I was I was a complete shadow of myself. I was just all over the place, And the day of the vision board, I actually did not want to go because I just felt like all the women there will be successful. I didn't want to be in that place with them. I didn't want to be connecting with them. I just did not want to be in that room. Guess what? I left the house to go for that vision board because I was having an argument with my husband. I was like, I'm not having this argument. I'm not in the mood. I had paid for it, but I didn't want to go. And so I left the house simply because I didn't want to have an argument with him. So I got to the vision board session 35 minutes late. So for anybody that might be here and feel like, why am I even here? Or somebody that might be listening to and thinking, why am I even listening to this anyhow? Trust me, you cannot be in a worse place than where I was. And I think there's a slide there, the next slide or something that says what I was. I was broke. In fact, I was having insecurity issues. I was just in a really, really dark place in my life. And I did the vision board with 20 women. Yes, no, the slide before. I did the vision board with 20 women. That was the person I did it with, Tosin. Amazing, amazing one. And it blew my mind because I didn't even know what to expect, I didn't know what to expect. Now, the truth is that year I went on to do a vision board with the ladies, 20 of us. I felt like we didn't see ourselves, but it was one of those things that when you see yourselves online or something, you became accountable. By the end of that year, even Tosin was like, Dotun, what happened to you? Because things had changed in terms of my mindset, and I had kind of strategized on where I wanted to be. Right. Now, that is my story, my first vision board. I hope that somebody is able to connect with it and somebody is able to say that, look, I understand what she's saying. Now, remember what I said from the beginning. Also, doing a vision board is very scriptural. Yes, is very, very scriptural. A book that I love so dearly, it says, and I would like admin to put it off. It says, write the vision and make it plain. so that the person that is running you can run with it and you can see it. So I say that doing a vision board, somebody might think, oh, you know what, why do I need to do it? Is it even important? These goals that just seem unimaginable, they seem unreachable, but it is scriptural, biblical to write your goals. And I wish they could put that scripture up for me. I think it's the next slide. It is scriptural to write your goals down. And sometimes what tends to happen, I don't know about other people, but when you write things down, what happens is sometimes it kind of you forget. I don't know about people, but I tend to forget. I used to be one of those at the beginning of the year. I will write down my goals and I forget. I forget what I'm doing. And it almost kind of just stays in a place where I forget every single thing that is inside. But the benefit of doing what's it a vision board is it passes by, and even it says that as you pass by it, as you see it, there's something that it does to you. There's something that it kind of opens your mind to every time you see it, every single time you see it. And so the point of a vision board, if I say to people that my first vision board is sat down, there's a particular place in my room where I used to pray. That's where I put it because I also wanted to challenge my faith. So every time I knelt down to pray, I looked at the impossibility of it. And it just made me think to myself, I cannot achieve this. I cannot do this. This is almost impossible. So it sat on the floor where I prayed. And every time I passed by in my room, I almost said to myself, this is unattainable. But guess what? In retrospect, because of the where I had put it, it also influenced who I was depending on to help me achieve it, right? It influenced, yes, thank you. It influenced, please admin, you can stop sharing. Thank you. It kind of influenced what happened inside of that vision board. That was my first year. The second year, and this is also to put things in perspective, I really wish this computer will help me, let me share. The second time I did the vision board, I put it by my table. And this was in COVID in 2019 when I did my second vision board. I kind of put it by my table. Now, there's a reason why I'm saying all of this. For somebody that might be thinking, okay, I'm about to do this. What is this going to mean to me? How is this going to change whatever I'm doing? I put it by my table where I used to study. It was in lockdown. It was in 2020. Somebody says share. Thank you. No, 1 second, please. 1 second. Okay. So I put it by my table and I felt like I was depending on myself. And so it was in 2020, imagine in the middle of COVID, I had done a vision board that said I was going to change the whole world. And the reality was I almost became frustrated by the vision board because I thought to myself, this thing that is by my table, because all of us were working from home, I cannot achieve it. I cannot do it. In fact, I remember by June 2020, I started really praying about it. And I just felt like, you know what, I'm not going to frustrate myself. My vision board is going to become a 5-year goal for me. And the honest truth is, in retrospect, we're in 2024 now. I did that vision board in 2025. I was looking at my vision board, the one I did in 2020. Remember, I said that it became a 5-year goal for me. I had smaller vision boards. So what a lot of people also do not realize is that I don't know about you, but as a young student, I used to do vision boards, but I didn't know I was doing it. You know how you cut maybe a university you want to go, you put it in front of you, or a house you want to buy, you put it in front of you. There are things that we do, but we don't know that you're doing a vision board. So I've always done that, right? So over the years since 2020, I haven't done one solid vision board. This is my year that I'm doing one solid one. I've had smaller vision boards. Maybe I wanted to buy a home, or I wanted to build a business, or I wanted to write my books. So I had smaller vision boards. But now I'm looking at my vision board from 2020, and I can see that I've achieved everything because I allowed myself time and I allowed myself not to get frustrated. So that is, and also I changed my dependency from depending on myself to also being prayerful about it. And so I took it back from being beside me, beside me by my table, I took it back to where I pray. So it almost became, I'm not depending on myself anymore. This is now, God, I'm asking you to help me achieve these goals that I have for myself. So you have to understand, and I mean, and also to say this in context, that there are people, it's not even, I mean, I know that being a Christian is great to do a vision board, but there are people, I mean, I've heard Oprah Winfrey is a big vision boarder. I've heard what's her name? Obama's wife is also a big vision boarder. They put it, in fact, just in context, sometimes how a vision board might not necessarily be even a picture. They say that when Obama wanted to, I don't know how true the story is, when he wanted to run for president, and he told Oprah, Oprah bought the dress that she was going to wear for the inauguration, and she hung it in front of her door, and she was looking at it every day. And for her, that was her inspiration to know that it was achievable, right? So sometimes a vision board might not necessarily be a picture. It might not necessarily be, it might be something different. A lot of us do it without realizing. But what I'm doing in this session is I'm kind of guiding you how to do it for the year. So some of us do it for a job, maybe in the middle of the year. Some of us do it for, like I said, a house. Some of us do it, Oprah did it for inauguration. I'm guiding you in this session how to do it for the year, right? That is the entire point of this session. I'm hoping at the end of this, I would give you more tools to be able to help you achieve the vision board. I did that in a session 2 weeks ago, how to achieve it. This session is based on how to build one. Okay. Okay. I'm so glad I went through that very quickly. So next, now I'm going to ask you ladies to download a handbook that's going to help you. So if admin can please share the link on how to, for us to download a handbook. I want you to download this handbook now because we're going to be speaking through it. So if admin can please share the link on the screen. It's a handbook that I would say I have used with my friends over the years. I still use it every year, from time to time. And it's a great way to kind of, in retrospect, look back and look forward. If you can see the chat, if you can see the chat, please, if you can please click on the link. Also, if the link can be displayed, I thought the link could be displayed for people that might be watching this later. So please click on the link in the chat, and it's a handbook that you will be downloading. I'm also clicking on it to make sure that it's working. Okay. Admin, you still have everything together, but that's fine. You just want to take the handbook. Admin, you've given us all my slides and everything, but all you need is the handbook, please. Please let me know in the chat once you have the handbook. I'm going to wait for all of us to have the handbook. Okay. Anybody else have it? Please let me know once you have it. All you need is the handbook. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Some people that attended the session 2 weeks ago might already have it. This is an updated version. So I would advise that you download the updated version. Okay. Admin, can you reduce the music so that people are able to hear me properly, please? Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so if somebody says they have it, okay, I am going to go ahead to admin, if you can let me share, please. Thank you. Okay. So if you already downloaded it, this is what should be in front of you. It should look like this. I'm guessing this is what you should have in front of you. Please let me know if this is what you have. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Okay, so like I said, and I mentioned to you guys, or you ladies, that it's a handbook. It kind of, so what it does is, and if I were to do this, I mean, typical me, I wake up very early. So I have 3 kids. I don't like the distraction. When I know that I want to kind of plan or I want to think in retrospect ahead, it might be different for you, but I tend to go to bed early and I wake up like 4 a.m. just to start to think. I play music, I pray before I do it. And so what this does, I want you guys to go all the way to the 3rd page. Now, what you do, the first thing to do is I always say you need to look back. You need to look back so that you can look forward, right? You need to look back. And it's funny because when I say look back, sometimes, they say that it's only a crazy person that does the same thing over and over again without making changes, right? So what I would do is I would print this and I would have it on my, I mean, because sometimes your devices will distract you. I would look back at 2024. Now, when I say look back, there are certain things that you kind of want to ask yourself. So, for instance, what goals did you achieve in 2024? Now, I typically say that doing this is not something you probably you might want to do in one sitting. So let me give you an example of me typically. Typically, I have my phone. Everybody has their phone on hand, right? You have apps on your phone. Like I have my note-taking apps on my phone. When I see this question, sometimes when you're sitting down, you can't really bring it to mind. But like I said to you, at the beginning of December, I already started doing this. So I know in my phone, maybe while I'm cooking, I'm doing something, I'm trying to bring to mind what goals did I achieve? What did I do this year? I'm writing it already on my phone because my phone is always on my hand, right? I'm writing it on my phone, I'm putting it down, I'm just dumping things. I'm a big dumper. So, example, I would dump it on my phone. I also have on my table in where I work from home. I have a notebook. So I will show you an example. This is my notebook, and I will just write things. I will just dump things there. Oh, I achieved this. I will scribble things a lot. I achieved this. I did this. So sometimes, in fact, don't even think of this as gold. What were the things you achieved? I was saying this to the ladies in the session 2 weeks ago. Ask yourself, what were the things that you did this year? If it was a crazy year for you, it might be the little things, like the really, really tiny things. So for instance, it might be, I cracked a joke in the session. I said, this year, I'm really proud of the fact that I'm one person that I stayed home more. So I'm one person I like to go out, I like to meet people, but I had to challenge myself to stay home more. So for instance, when people invited me for evening events, I just had to say, no, I can't because I had young children. So for you, it might be a case of the goals that you achieved were not necessarily material. It was things that maybe, oh, I was more disciplined in my eating habit this year, or no, or I became more timely this year. Other people, it might be like big goals, big things like, oh, I changed jobs, I moved careers, I finished an exam. They say, don't despise the days of small beginnings. The reason why I say that is sometimes there are things that you've achieved and you feel to yourself, it's not really a goal. I don't really care about that, but it's a big goal. So I will give you an example okay, I just realized that admin, okay, that's fine. So for me, for instance, I, um, I remember there was a year where I was really, really depressed. I think that was 2021. I was really depressed. And in 2022, my goal was not to, change a job or whatever. My goal was just to be more intentional about my mental health. So that year in 2022, the goal that I achieved was I was more intentional about my mental health. And so when I look back, I was a happy person. I got out of that depression mode. I started exercising. Now, I may not have lost 10,000 kg or whatever, but I started to move 30 minutes a day. That was a goal for me. Everybody's goal, everybody's in a different phase of their life. So you need to ask yourself, what is your goal? Right. Now, when you ask these questions, and this is funny when you've used this tool, I say to people that you have to use it like you're probably going to be flipping through pages, right? So for instance, if you achieved a goal, let me say, for instance, let me say somebody that said my mental health, your mental health, you're in a better place. What were the things that facilitated that? What were the things that helped you achieve a better mental health? Or maybe you were more timely. What were the things that you did? Maybe, oh, I woke up early more. The reason why you're doing this is you're looking back to look forward. Sometimes if you don't do retrospect, you're not able to what's the word? To kind of know, what did I learn? What helped me? When you sit down and you do retrospect, like looking back, it helps you kind of know, okay, I did this. For instance, I example writing for the last 3 years, or prioritized on my education more. What were your facilitators? My time, please let me know. My internet is unstable. Please let me know. 1 second. Please let me know that my internet, you can hear me, please, while I try and make sure I'm charged up. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so the reason why I say accomplishments or goals and facilitators, what that means is you are trying to ask yourself, and the truth is we're all different. Some people might not need this handbook. Some people might be like me, where there's some years where I'm able to answer these questions instantly without needing a handbook. But I always say that if you've never done it before, or maybe you've never done it in a structured way, the purpose of this handbook is kind of to, okay, I need to make sure you guys can hear me. 1 second, please. I'm just trying to make sure you guys, I need to, okay. Can somebody put in the chat? Okay, fantastic. I'm just trying to make sure of that. Okay, I will continue. Okay, so I've put what's it called, handbook back. Now remember that you're doing this, you're thinking back, you're thinking forward. You're thinking back and you're thinking forward. But you're trying to review the year for yourself. So you're saying, what did I achieve? What was my goal? What were the facilitators? I've put a lot of boxes here, but for some people, it might just be, I accomplished this. What helped me? I had a different mindset. It might be, oh, don't beat yourself up. And the truth is, sometimes, and this is why people don't like to do all these vision things and goal setting things, because some people say, oh, it's going to make me see how bad I am at something. Guess what? It's better to know how bad you are at something than to not know, because once you know that, okay, I achieved this, it will then help you be able to know how to plan ahead, right? So that's the purpose of this particular part. Now, I like to ask this question, which is failures. Because I always say that, I mean, I'm a big embracer of failures, because I say, if you don't fail, you will never know how not to do it. So as you're looking back at 2024, you're asking yourself, what did I fail at? So let me use myself as an example. Middle of this year, October, I realized I had a particular health goal for myself, but I realized that I was failing at that goal. Well, not like I wasn't achieving that goal fast enough, because I hadn't been feeding my body the kind of food that I wanted it to, that it needed. So I had done a consultation with somebody that helps me with my health, and she had said to me, Dotun, you're failing at this because you are eating more. I wasn't eating well, so I wasn't fueling my body well. She said, we need to switch you from not eating enough to eating more protein. So I was eating a lot of veggies and I was always tired. So I told her, I'm always tired. She said, no, we need to feed you with more protein. So my point is, if you're failing at something, what did you do wrong? So what am I failing at? So for me, I had a health goal for myself. I wasn't achieving it, but I'm happy that I was quickly able to identify what I was failing at in October. So we started correcting it. So, but for you, it might be other things. Example, one of the things I wanted to achieve this year was be more prompt on time. But I realized that I was failing at because I wasn't starting my day early, or I wasn't I wasn't walking backwards in terms of time, right? Also for you, it might be maybe I'll use myself as an example. I had a financial goal for myself this year, and I realized that I didn't achieve that goal simply because I was giving more hours to something that won't contribute towards that goal. So this year, for instance, in 2025, I know that I need to cut back on my hours on that particular activity so that I'm able to do more financial beneficial activities. You see what I'm saying? So you need to ask, what did I fail at? And it might be different. And for you, it might be something more substantial. I failed at an exam because I didn't start reading ahead. You know, the best person to tell yourself the truth is yourself. No other person can tell you the truth. Yourself, you can tell yourself the truth, because sometimes a lot of us are able to identify the problem in other people, but you're not able to tell yourself the truth. So what this does for you is, and like I said, you might not even be able to sit down and do it in one sitting. It might require for you to maybe do this over, maybe you use your phone, you're writing the notes, you're thinking of the questions already, and you're planning ahead for it. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you're maybe coming back to write it down. Now, also for me to say to you that, in fact, let me use myself as an example. When you try and rush through this, you might miss some things, right? So sometimes when I do I remember the year I did this, eventually I realized that, oh, I came back and I was like, there were still some lessons that I could have learned. There was something else I failed at and I could have learned. So putting this and doing it like over time kind of gives you that edge, that understanding, that being able to make sure that you are really assessing yourself. You know what I mean? And also to say now, I'm gonna say this to you. When you start to plan for a new year, I don't know about you, everybody, but for me, I remember you growing up younger, I used to have so many goals, and then I would go in with the same attitude, the same mindset. I always say that every year requires a mindset shift. You need to shift. You need to decide, what am I shifting this year? What am I changing? Because it's only a crazy person that does the same thing over and over again, using the same attitudes, the same perspective. So you're asking yourself, what am I shifting? I said this to the ladies 2 weeks ago. You need to shift your mind and never say to yourself, it's too late. Because some people say to themselves, you know what? It's too late. Maybe I've been doing the wrong thing for 10 years. It's too late. I can't catch up. Can I ask you this? Which one is better? To quickly tell yourself, let's change the pattern. So for instance, if you say, I've messed up, yes, I've lost time. If I quickly correct my part, so for instance, remember I said to you, I use my health as an example. I corrected my path in October. Imagine if I had told myself, it's the end of the year, let's not sort this thing out. Let's wait until January again. I wouldn't have been able to know what is working for me November, December. And now by January, I know what to do. So it's better for you to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to correct this by one step. Imagine somebody that is taking one step forward every day, unlike somebody that is still just standing in the same place. Standing in the same place and one step forward, that means that by the end of the year, you'll have taken 365 steps. You can also change that in terms of finances, in terms of money, in terms of your career. So if you say, I've lost time, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, great. Clap for yourself. I've lost time, nothing I can do about it. But I always say that don't stay there. Don't just say that's the end of it. No, you have to shift your mind and say, okay, great. I may not be able to achieve it like this the way everybody else will, but I can correct my steps. Even if I don't hit the sky, I can build a skyscraper. You know what I mean? So it's a mindset shift. You have to be able to shift your mind and change your mind and arrive at where you want to go. So this thing I need to change about my mindset. What do I need to change? Because there's always something to change. And there's a reason why I'm really zoning in on this. Okay, I'm gonna stop for 2 seconds, and then I'm going to stop sharing for 2 seconds. Oh, somebody, I'm just trying to read the chat. Somebody said permit recording. Please, can admin confirm that this is being streamed on YouTube? I thought we had this on YouTube. Okay, because of the people that might have to watch again. Okay, thank you very much, admin. Okay, so I'm going to stop because I want to be able to kind of speak on something. Please bear with me. I'm just pulling up my notes. Well, I really wish. 1 second. Okay. Now, one thing I want to speak on, and the reason why I want to speak on this, I spoke to people in the, okay, for those that might just be joining, this is the link for the handbook. So remember, I'm speaking from a handbook. Everything I'm doing, you're going to also take your time to do the same thing in a handbook, right? Now, I want to say this, that I shared this briefly, and I know some of the ladies here are from the vision board. You're going to please just allow me explain it to people just in terms of context. There's something that I use. Some people say, oh, can you have it all? You can have the wonderful life. You can have the best life you ever dreamed of. But the question I always ask people is, I mean, I've asked myself, can you have it all? I always say it's not about having it all. So say I can have the best career, the best, family, the best everything. It's not about having it all. It's about understanding your season and being able to prioritize your year based on the season that you are in. So let me explain what that means to you. For instance, you might be in a season when your children are really young. Maybe you just had a baby. Or you might be in a season when your children are young. For instance, I have 12, 9, and 3, and 4. How I'm going to set my goals is going to be different from my friend who has children that are teenagers. Because her children are older, they're more independent. So the way she's going to set her goal, if I set my goal like my friend, I'm just setting up myself for failure, complete failure. You have to be able to set your goals and your vision based on where you are at, your own reality, where you are sitting, because unless you understand the season of life that you're in, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So, example, in this season, I mentioned to you that this year, my focus really was being more available for my children. So any invitations that I got after 6 o'clock, I said to people, I'm sorry, I cannot take that invitation because I need to be more available for my children, right? Now, that was something that I became more available in the house. This 2025, my goal for my family is different because I've been more available, but there were days national document. And so my goal for myself this year for my family is I need to be more present. What does being more present mean? Being more present means I need to be able to get down on the floor and do activities with them and be more mindful. I was going to say mindful and demure, but be more mindful, and so that so that my kids are able to see that mommy is available. Mommy can play a game of cards with us. She's not just in the house, but she's available. Understanding your season will help you know what to prioritize in terms of your goals. So I'm also going to share my screen now. If admin can let me share, I'm going to go back to the handbook. Okay, I'm going back to the handbook, please. Thank you. So let me say while I'm saying this to you, there's a part in the handbook. People call it different things. Some people call it the wheel of life. Some people call it the wheel of life. Some people call it the wheel of balance. The two documents, these two things, I mean, it's just the way I don't like the circular one because it makes me feel like everything is running around me. I prefer, it's just different representations. I prefer the one where it's like I'm a light and I'm shining on different areas of my life, right? That's why I prefer this one. But I've gone from calling it the wheel of life to the wheel of balance. But you see, the truth is nobody can achieve, well, some people can. I don't know how they do it. In these different areas of life, so these are the different areas of life that you want to be fulfilled as. I've edited this thing many times to suit my own perspective of life. There are different ways to do it. I call it the wheel of balance, and you can put your name there as you do this. The reason why I say it's so many areas, but some people, based on the season that you're in, one area might be more important to you than the other. So let me explain what I mean. I was saying before, I'm one person. What I used to do before when I do my vision board is I will put a number to each area. Okay. I'm echoing. Okay. Before, when I did my vision board, I would put a number to each area. So for instance, I would tell myself this year what is important to me. Children, 1, or spirituality is 1. Then I will go 2, 3, 4, and I will put a number to it. But I've realized over the years, sometimes it's like you're juggling many balls. It's about asking yourself, in this year, what 5 areas are important to me? Or in 2024, what 5 areas did I focus on? And the truth is, because you didn't do vision board at the beginning of 2024, you're not doing it at the end of the year. You can still ask yourself, okay, this year, what 5 areas did I focus on? So some people might say, oh, I focused on my family. Just choose 5 areas that you know, or maybe you thrived on, or maybe you can put your goal in that particular area and say, for instance, in my career, I moved up the ladder. So that was what I can see that was the most important area for me in this year. Do you see my point? Or maybe for somebody, you had somebody never used to go out, and so you started going out more. Fun and recreation and rest is your own number one. Somebody, maybe they saved more. Finance was your number one. So look at your goals and ask yourself, what 5 areas did I thrive at? Did I do well in? Like, remember what I said? You can use this if you prefer this. Just put a number to it and say, these were the 5 areas that I thrived on. I always put, I've gone from before it was this year, I put God in the middle. It used to be myself. But I realized that, remember that this vision board is really faith-based. God in the middle really means it's not really up to me. I have to start from God and then walk my way around, right? So let me use myself as an example. This year, my number one is always my spirituality and my ministry. That's always my number one. Some people, my number 2 was my family and my home. Number 2 was family and home for me. My goals were really built around that. Number 3 was my career and my business. That was very important to me. Number 4 was my well-being. And I think my number 5 was maybe I had five, my marriage and my relationship were like my number 5. So I had 2 number 5s. But remember, I said I've changed the way I do things, right? Now, this will help me know, okay, next year, I can tell you, for instance, next year when I'm building my vision board, it's going to change quite differently. Number 1 will still be spirituality. But number 2 for me is going to be my finances, right? Because like I mentioned to the ladies, there's a goal I have for myself in terms of my finances. And I feel like I didn't achieve it this year. I want to be more focused on it. So because I know that I've spent this year building my marriage, I've learned some things on my marriage, on my children. Some things it would look like I'm prioritizing some things more, but I feel like I need to just focus and try and learn more on it. So my number 1 is my spirituality. My number 2 is my finances. My number 3, my children. So you see, it's different for me now. My number 4 is my health and my well-being. And my number 5 will be my number 5 will be my career. That is me for this year. Some people might say to themselves, last year. So my point is, you need to look at this, and please hold on. I'm still going to give you some tools at the bottom to help you, but I'm showing you this wheel of balance so that you're able to kind of see, okay, what is even going on in my life? What happened last year? Where can I put each area, right? Now, I'm going to move very quickly. So you see, you're reflecting on 2024. When you look at this table, you have picked the areas that you can fit your goal into. You're now coming to this area and saying, okay, based on what I wrote down, the goals I achieved at the beginning, now let me break it down, my 5 areas. So I don't expect you to fill all of this. You're not expected to. And remember, this is not an exam. You're taking your time to do it. So you are taking your own personal time to do it. Find your 5 areas and say, okay, I did contentment and peace, like me. I stayed at home more. So the 5 areas, fill it in the box and say, in these 5 areas, what were the things that I did? This was my goal. I did it. What were the things that I did? The reason why you're breaking it down is sometimes you might realize, so there was a year that I felt like I was so successful in terms of achieving my goals. But guess what? I realized that year, a lot of my goals were more on my career and my business. So by the time I listed it, I had achieved 7 things in career and business. And it was like when I tried to list under children, it was as if I had only achieved one thing under my children, just one. Maybe their academics, they were doing well. That made me realize, oh, wow, I was spending a lot of time on my career and my business. And it made me retrace my steps to know I need to take time from career and business and spend time at home more. So the reason why you're listing what you've achieved in maybe your own 5 areas is it will help you know what is taking your time more and what will help you retrace your steps to know, oh, I see this, I'm achieving more goals in my business. I'm not achieving goals at home. My marriage is struggling. Oh, maybe the only thing we achieved this year was we slept on the same bed. I mean, as an example. But guess what? We're fighting more. Okay, maybe that is because I have 7 things I achieved in my career. Maybe I need to find more time for my marriage. You see what I'm saying? So when you list the things you've achieved under your 5 sections, it would help you know what is missing. I don't know. Please let me know in the chat if you understand. I'm gonna kind of pull up because I'm trying to keep this interactive. Let me look at the chat to make sure. Please let me know if you understand and if you have a question. Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Nikki, for saying that. It makes a lot of sense. So remember, I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you have a question. I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Let me know if you have a question. No more questions. Okay. Thank you. Okay, no questions. That's good. Good. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing. Please let me know if anything I'm sharing is not helpful. Let me know, or if this has been very, very helpful, let me know. I know we have some ladies on YouTube, but just those that are on Zoom, I'm able to look at your messages. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm guessing this is useful, and I'm hoping that nobody has fallen asleep. Family home. Well, it depends. It depends. So some people always ask me, family home, would it be the same category? It depends. It depends on you. Some people like to break it up. You can make it the same category. So sometimes you might be available for your children, but your home needs you more. So your home might be, for some people, maybe your children are grown. And so your home needs you more means maybe you need to organize your family finances more. Some of these things, they intertwine, right? But for me, I always like to say children is children, home is home. Some people even combine it. They just forget about marriage, forget about children, and they just say marriage and children are the same category. So I'm going to do it. That's what I'm saying. Don't try and do everything. Find what is important to you, your 5, list what you achieved, and move on. Just zone in and find what is important to you. And the reason why you're listing it, remember what I said, when you see that your goals are, or what you achieved is plenty under one area, and in one section, literally for me, there was one year where children, I only achieved one thing. It was my children were doing well academically. And for me, my job, I had like 10 things I had achieved. It made me understand why maybe my husband was fighting with me and he was saying, oh, you're not spending time with the children. I was able to tell myself, okay, I'm spending a lot of time at work. My children are strong academically. There's no fun in their life. There's no mommy time. There's no, it kind of gives you that therapist. You know what I'm saying? When you ask yourself those questions, and so for somebody else, it might be different, So let me go back. I'm trying. Okay, let me see if there's any other question. Any other question before I go back in? I'm very mindful of the time because I want it to only take 1 hour, 30 minutes. Any other questions? Taya said, being helpful. Fantastic. Okay, so let me go back into the slides now. I'm going to share the slides now. Thank you, guys. Okay, so remember, don't try and do all these areas, 5 areas. And I will say this because some people might be able to have 6 areas, 7 areas. Great. Some people might have 7, 10 areas. But I'm trying to make this, actually for people that have never done this before, to make it more realistic for you. In fact, let me say this. Sometimes when I do this, I try and answer in every area. In every area, when I'm thinking about the previous year, because I want to see, did I live a well-balanced life? So for you, you might be able to answer it in every single area. Fantastic. But I'm also trying to get you not to overpressure yourself. And if you can do 5, try and do minimum of 5. But if you can answer your question in every single area, fantastic, right? Now, remember, we're still focused on 2024. Now, what you will then do is some people, this particular slide will help you. It's similar to the first one, but for you, it might not even be a goal. It might just be what happened, something that you're grateful for, right? So for me, it's not a goal, but in 2024, I became very mindful. I was very mindful of myself. It wasn't a goal, but I'm grateful for it, right? That helps me realize that, okay, that means I became very mindful. Maybe I need to put this as a goal for myself in 2025, being more mindful. So this particular first box might be the same as your goal. Some people it's the same. Some people, it might just be something that you're just thankful. You're so thankful for it that it wasn't a goal. Maybe for you, it might be maybe your mom had an illness and she survived, or you're just grateful for the fact that you could travel, something that you're grateful for. It just makes you smile when you think about the year, writing that down, it might help you think this should actually be a goal of mine. So for instance, I'm grateful that I could go on holiday, right? In 2024, I didn't plan to go on holiday in December, right? But I never used to do it. Now it's making me think, okay, I think I need to plan it as a goal for myself in 2025, where I should think of traveling more. You know what I mean? Okay. And then this section, what did you discover about yourself? There might be something. Maybe you discover that you're more resilient. This year I discovered that I can be more consistent. So I'm one person that I can be a yo-yo sometimes, but I discovered that I can learn how to be resilient and consistent. So I learned that about myself. I'm going to write it down in this box. And sometimes maybe something that you filled in other sections might feed into this section where maybe I said, oh, this year I was more consistent. Okay, what did I discover about myself? I have discovered that I'm actually a consistent person, or I have discovered that I struggle with time. Let me crack a joke just to make you guys laugh. I used to say to myself that I'm not a foodie. I'm not a foodie, and I'm a snacker. This year, I stopped snacking and I discovered that I actually like food. So that is a discovery about myself and it's going to make me actually plan my health goals next year in terms of I like food. So we have to be very creative about that food, what we're going to eat, So this is, you're asking yourself questions and it sounds funny, but these are the things that help you achieve your goals, right? Okay. Now, enough of 2024. Remember, I'm only teaching you how to do this. You are going to spend your time doing it by yourself, right? Then you're going to look forward in 2025. So it's time for us to think about 2025. And the same things you did in 2024, you're going to do it for 2025. Now, let me tell you this. This probably happens to some of us. Before I sit down and do this, I already know what I'm going to do in 2025. So you might maybe have written it on your phone, you might maybe have planned it out, but the reason for doing this is you might have written it on your phone, but you're now being strategic because all of this is going to feed into doing your vision board, right? Okay, so remember, we're now doing the same thing. You're not going to ask yourself, what is my priority? Remember the wheel of life? You're not going to ask yourself, what is my one? What is my two? What is my three? So you're going to put a number to each section, only 5 sections, because you are going to build. They always say, I mean, I have learned over time, it's not about having many goals. It's about having 1, 2, 3 goals. And before you realize it, it will feed into the others. So let me give you a classic example. One of my priority goals this year was my health. I wanted to prioritize my health. I wanted to work out at least 5 times a week. Let me tell you what this did for me. The moment I prioritized my health was one of my 5, or maybe one of my 3. To prioritize your health means you need to be consistent. You will learn consistency, you will learn self-discipline. I'm telling you this, the moment I prioritize on my health, it started showing up in my career and my business, even though that wasn't one of my priority goals. It was showing up because and it started showing up in my rest and my fun. So let me give you an example. Because I had prioritized on my health, I knew automatically, no matter what anybody invites me to, I need to sleep early because my body needs to recover. I need to eat well, you know? So what that meant for me is fun and rest and recreation. I was sleeping more. I crack a joke. I'm not a sleeper, but this year I slept more. So my fun and rest was not priority, but before I realized it, it was feeding into that. So if you try and achieve 10 million goals, sometimes you don't even achieve any. But when you narrow your goals down to what is important for me, remember, you've understood your season. What is important for me? If I look back at December 2025, what will I have achieved that will make me smile about myself? For me, my health was very important. So by saying my health is number 1, everything I did, or number 2 or number 3, was built around my health. And before I know it, it was feeding into other areas of my life. In fact, it was feeding into being active with my children. So now I would play soccer and I would play games with my children. But that's because I became more healthy. You know what I mean? So put 1, 2, some people will only be able to do 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this section. Put it down and kind of say, these are my 5 areas, finish. This is what I want to prioritize on in this year. Now, I always say that this is my wish list. So it's funny because sometimes you have a goal and you limit yourself in your mind, right? So example, I have a goal and maybe I want to apply for a particular job. I want to change careers. And the role I'm just going for roles that are like that I can achieve. If you take limits off yourself and you tell yourself, okay, these are my 5 areas, my career is my career is one of my 5 areas. If I had no limits, what would be the biggest goal for this area? So example, if I had no limits for my career, I will become the vice president of a bank. I mean, I'm not in the banking sector, but that's an example. By allowing yourself to dream of, if I had no limits, what you will then do when you go down, and I'm going to go down so you guys can understand it. What you will then do is you will now identify, okay, what is my limitation? What is the limitation? So for instance, if I say my career is my goal, my priority area for 2025, if I had no limits, what will I dream of? So I would dream of becoming the director of a bank, example. I would dream of becoming the board of directors. Now, I will ask myself, fantastic, that's if I had no limits. What is your limitation? Example, is it that I need to certify, I need to do an exam, or is it that I don't have enough experience to become the director of a bank? You are telling yourself, what is my limitation? Sometimes the limitation needs to be named, call it what it is. Example, let me use myself as an example. When I said to parrot, I keep using health because it's so important to me. My health. I told myself I want to work out 5 days a week. What is my limitation? Time. I couldn't work out in the evening because my kids have My ideal was to work out 5 days a week. That is my ideal. Did I work out 5 days a week every day this month, this year? Maybe 70% of the time. But my ideal was to do that. What is my limitation was time. I couldn't work out. I knew I couldn't work out in the evening. I knew I couldn't work out I don't like working out in the after, like 9 o'clock. It's not my style. So I told myself the only time you can work out, I identified it was before everybody in your house wakes up. Do you see that? I've identified my ideal, I've identified my limitation, and I've been able to solve my own problem before everybody wakes up. So I worked my way. I said, okay, so that means that I wake up my children at 6:30. So for me, my limitation is if, and this is another example, if I know that I don't like working out at 9 o'clock, that's my limitation because it's time to go to work by 9 o'clock. I can't work out in the evening. 5:30 a.m. is the only time I can work. I wake up my children at 6:30. If I need to achieve 5 days a week working out, I must wake up at 5. I must be up. I must do 5:30 class. Means I need to be up by 4:30. Means that I need to sleep. You see what I'm saying? That automatically seeps into my decision the night before. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. It's like a spiral. So you identify your limitation. What is my limitation? You identify your ideal world, and then you are able to know, okay, this is what I'm going to do about myself right now. That means that, so example, I discovered this year that I like to eat. But unfortunately for me, I also discovered this year about myself that once I'm hungry, I'm hungry. So what that meant for me is I plan my meals. Before, it used to sound like ridiculous. People planning, I'm like, what does that even mean? But now I know that I like to eat. Once I'm hungry, I don't see my food in front of me. I end up eating junk. That is me. So that meant by the time I'm starting my day by 9 o'clock, I can tell you what I'm eating for lunch, for dinner. I've planned my meals. I can tell you that I've gone to the grocery in the weekend. I've been able to prioritize my time. So remember what this is saying. I have said here, what is your 5 areas? If you had no limits, what would be your biggest goal, right? And then you're identifying what are my limitations? What is even limiting me from achieving this goal? Do you see my point? Now, when you identify, this is almost like an exam, but that's why I'm saying you're going to have to take out the next 3 days to really sit with yourself. Maybe it's in the evening, maybe it's in the morning, and examine yourself. You're planning ahead for the next 365 days. Think about it. You're planning ahead you're planning for success. The most successful people will pay therapists to do this for them. But we can't pay a therapist, right? So we're sitting with ourselves to answer these questions. You know what I mean? So you are now going to ask yourself, what resources do I need in 2025 to help me achieve my goals? So let me use the example I've been using, which is my health. I was able to identify 5:30 in the morning is the only time I can work out. What that meant for me, I'm also the kind of person that I can wake up in the morning and I will snooze. I will so snooze the alarm clock. I will snooze it as much as possible. But guess what? That also meant the place I was going to work out, I knew that I had to find a gym that will make me not snooze. So let me give you an example. The gym I go to, if you don't come for your classes, they charge you. So if you sign up for a class, you don't show up, they will charge you. Guess what? It made me consistent. That gym cost me money, but guess what? It pays for my consistency. You see my point? So I know, some people say to me, why do you like that gym? I said, look, what it's doing for me, it's making me show up 5 days a week. My husband laughs at me because when I roll out of bed at 4:30 in the morning because I have to pray, he's like, why are you? I said, look, I've already signed up for this class. If I don't show up, they will charge me $20. That's how bad I became. My health became important to me. So what resources do I need? I knew that I needed to find a gym that will make me accountable. Some people might be able to find out, I need to find a coach that will make me accountable. Some people, maybe you're starting a small business and you're telling yourself, I may not be consistent on social media with this. Maybe you need to look for somebody that would help you be consistent on social media. Or maybe, what resources do I need? I need to put example for myself. I have do not disturb on my phone right now because I get distracted by my phone. Between 9 and 5, no, do not disturb is on my phone because I wanted to improve my productivity. You know what I mean? So what resources do you need in 2025? Example, you want to write an exam. Okay, what resources do I need? Okay, I may not be able to pay for the training because it's expensive. Maybe I need to find a group that you've identified your limitation. My limitation is that this exam is expensive. Maybe I need to find a group that I can work with. So you're thinking of, this is my goal. By the end of this year, I want to have an MBA. An MBA is, what is my limitation? I want to have an MBA. MBA is expensive. Okay, maybe we should do an online MBA. Or maybe I should find a program that breaks it down into smaller modules for me. So what resources do I need in 2025 for these areas? I'm going to stop because I want to see if anybody has a question. Please let me know, is this helpful or is this not? Some people are just joining. You might have to rewatch it from the beginning. Please let me know. If you're just joining, you might have to rewatch it from the beginning on YouTube. This session, I'm teaching you how to do your vision board. We have streamed it again on YouTube. So people can go back and rewatch it. There's a handbook, but I just want to see if anybody has a question, maybe has been listening and has a question. Please let me know in the chat because I want to go through. And I'm also going to ask that I was hoping that we could finish in 1 hour, 30 minutes. I'm going to ask for extra time. But please let me know in the chat, anybody that is listening, questions or what you think, let me know. I'm just going to wait. Anyone? I'm struggling on how to prioritize the areas. I really want to focus on 3 to 5 as suggested. Fantastic. So focus on 3 to 5. I know you're struggling. For me, I also struggle with that, how to prioritize. I would say, look at your life right now and say what is important. So remember what I said, some areas will feed into some areas. So let me give you an example. My number one is always my spirituality. It's my spirituality because I know that if I'm, it says seek, I mean, this is a faith-based, so if it says seek God first, if I seek God first, certain other things will make sense to me. So when I start my day, because I know number one is my spirituality, when I start my day, like you don't see me start my day and pick up my phone. When I'm waking up very early in the morning, I'm rolling on my knees and I'm praying. I know that I can't afford to mess up number one because if I mess up number one, the rest will not be all right. So that is important to me, very, very important to me. So, and then some areas, like I said, the results of one area always show up in other areas that you didn't even prioritize on. So, like I said, personal development was not, I won't say it wasn't on my list this year, but because I prioritized on my health, I learned consistency and I learned consistency and I also learned what they call time management. So self-development will be consistent and time because my health was important and I had worked on ways to improve my health. It showed up in my self-development. So my husband will tell you I became more consistent this year. I became more self-aware. My mental health was in a better place this year. So some areas that you didn't prioritize on may even benefit from other areas that you prioritized on. You just need to understand your season. The reason why I'm saying this way, when you build your vision board, and I'm going to ask for extra 30 minutes, hoping I can finish within the next 40 minutes. It helps you build, you're not just building a scattered vision board. So for instance, when you build your vision board, I'm going to show you my vision board shortly. Your number one will go in the middle, or either number 1, 2, 3 would go in the middle, a picture, and then you will build everything else around it, right? Because you're finding pictures that would inspire you for what you're building. You know what I mean? So you're asking yourself these questions, what is important to me? So let me move and then I would show you something to help you, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing. Okay, I'm almost done. So remember what I said, what resources do you need? Once you identify your resources, you might be able to identify, and some of them might identify them towards as the year goes by. Now, I'm gonna go here where it says your time to plan. Now, let me show you my vision board. I just hope my computer would allow me. It's not been allowing me all day. 1 second. Okay, can somebody show me my vision board? Or can you share the slide, please? Can you please share the slide? I'm going to stop sharing. There's in the slide, I don't know why I can't see my slide. Actually, I can see the slide. 1 second. Actually, I can see it. Thank you. I have the slides now. I'm going to download it from here. Okay, fantastic. Oh, okay. Please let me share my screen. I'm happy I have it here now. I want to find it on the happiness. Don't take it off there. Okay. Please let me know you can see my screen, my entire screen. Can you? Okay. So let me give you an example of my vision board. This is my 2025 vision board, right? My 2020 vision board. I'm going to try and zoom in so you ladies can see. Okay. If you look very closely, this is my vision board for 2020. Remember what I said? It became my 5-year vision board. Now, when you're building a vision board, what you're doing, and most people always wonder, what am I doing with the vision board? Am I just finding pictures? Am I just cutting pictures? What am I doing with it? What you're doing is you are finding, some people use magazines. These days, it's hard to get magazines. I would say use pictures of something online. So let me give you an example. The year that one of my goals was to build my business and to build my businesses, I went to find a picture of Richard Branson. And I put it on my vision board because I told myself, he spoke to me about the success, the possibility of success of an entrepreneur. This is my 2020 vision board and has been my vision board for 5 years. I've put smaller things to it, but I can tell you I've already achieved this vision board, and I will put it in context for you. This first picture in the middle spoke to me about health. So you would see somebody that is happy, somebody that is healthy, this is the lady in white. I wish I could zoom this in. 1 second. I wish I could zoom this in. Okay, I can.
We can zoom in.
Oh, you can zoom in. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so this picture, you see the lady's wearing white. It spoke to me about somebody that was healthy, somebody that was confident, somebody that was happy. That lady in white, you would think, why do you have that picture on your vision board? But that was what next year I'm turning 40. That was what I wanted to look like. And this was a 5-year vision board for me. I told myself by 2025, I want to look this way. I want to be happy. I want to be confident. I want to be secure in myself. You can see she's wearing a suit. I also put a picture of Oprah, not like I wanted to be Oprah, but she spoke to me about somebody that was audacious. That picture of Oprah, it wasn't just any picture of Oprah, but it spoke to me about somebody that was audacious and content. Also, I wanted to start helping women. She's one person that speaks about helping women, and she's also somebody that uses her gifts very well. I wanted to be somebody that uses my gifts in every capacity. That was the picture that I put up, and I told myself for the next 5 years, this is what I want to see. This is how I want to be. You would see smaller things I put here, a pioneering spirit. I wanted to start to do, like, some of my businesses will be things that people have never heard of. my books, but I told myself I wanted to have a pioneering spirit, right? Now, um, you see here, look great, live healthy. That was in 2020 because I told myself in 5 years, this is what was important to me. And so I put it up. You see the hashtag born to dare because I didn't want to limit myself. You will see the part where I say bring your holiday home. I think that year we had gone on holiday and I said I just didn't want to be happy when I was on holiday. I wanted my home. In fact, I'll tell you a very funny story about this. I don't like leaving my house anymore. In fact, my kids say, like, Mom, can we just stay at home? Where are we going to a hotel? Like the house just feels nice and cozy and happy. That was a goal for me. If I tell you how my home, my marriage, my everything was, as at this year, you'll be like, it's impossible. But that was a goal for me. You see what I'm saying? You see, I have something here that says, don't be outpaced. As at 2020, I mean, I sat down with magazines and I started to cut it out. I have a business where it's a niche. I told myself I wanted to go back to train. I wanted to certify myself. I won't be outpaced. This don't be outpaced. That same business has struggled the last maybe 4 years. Every time I looked at my vision board, I told myself, Dotun, you must not be outpaced because those were the things I told myself. Now, you're talking about a year. Obviously, you've decided on your 5 areas. I mean, somebody will look at it and say, you put the 100 list here. When I put the 100 list here, I didn't even know 100 list in what. I had no idea what 100 list would be. But I told myself I wanted to be so strong in what I was doing that if they were going to do a 100 list, I would be potentially be one of the people that they would put on that list. You know what I mean? So it was funny when, I mean, I think 3 weeks earlier this year, they were doing a list of people that write in the diaspora and they put me on that. And I was like, interesting. I didn't go about chasing that, but that was what was important to me. It was like, whatever I'm doing, I want to be strong enough that they can recommend me to be on this list. Now, if you're planning a year, you're looking at your 5 areas and you're asking yourself, these 5 areas, find a picture or find certain things that would inspire you about what you're thinking. In fact, if you look at the side of my vision board, you will see some checks. I had written myself certain checks because I was talking about my finances. Now, this also speaks about why I was frustrated that year because we're in COVID year, right? And nothing could be achieved in COVID year. But rather than fold my vision board up, I did something. I changed it from being a 1 year vision board to a 5 year vision board. Now, somebody might look at this and say, have you achieved everything on this board? I'm telling you, next year I'm 40. I have achieved everything that I wanted to achieve in terms of my mindset on this vision board. Maybe the only one lacking is maybe the check. But I'm not folding it up because I have told myself next year, the check one, you can't see the figure on there, must be achievable. But now the truth is, will I achieve exactly the figure on that check? No. But it's inspiring me to think every decision I'm going to make is going to be built around this. Now, remember what I said, and I really want to share this with you guys. I said this at the beginning. This scripture always speaks to me. It says, write the vision and engrave it so plainly upon tablets that everyone who passes. I like when it says everyone who passes. Now, I said about my vision board, where did my vision board sit? My vision board, it sat on where I used to pray. My first year I did it. During COVID, I will show you a picture. It sat next to me. So it was next to my desk. This is my desk. This was in COVID 2021. I got frustrated because remember what this thing says, this scripture, it says, everyone who passes. Every time I passed by it, I thought to myself, this thing is ridiculous. But it also made me know that me that did this thing knew that it was achievable. Do you understand? So you see this power, it says, though it tarry, wait, it will happen. You need to be able to understand that if you don't leave, imagine everything that has happened to me in 5 years. So let me paint something for you. And some of my friends here might know this side because I've shared this slide over and over again. When you build a vision board, it doesn't mean things are not going to happen to you. Of course, things are going to happen to you. When you build, I mean, nobody knows how the year is going to be. 2020, I did my vision board and then COVID happened. But you are telling yourself, when I was in a stable mind, this is what I did. So in spite of the challenges that I'm going to face, I will put this before me. If they say if you shoot to the sky, you might not get to the sky, but you get to the skyscraper. You are challenging your mind to say, I'm not going to be here. So example, I use my health as an example. Have I achieved my health goal for this year? No. But I'm not where I was in January. You see my point? I'm not where I was in January 2024. I'm in a better place. I'm in a much better place. So you are putting it by your side. So example, now let me show you guys something. My vision board went from being by my side to this is my vision board now. This is where it sits right now. And I'll tell you something funny. My vision board sits in my closet on the floor where I pray. I'm actually changing that in 2025. I'm bringing it out from that closet and I'm bringing it back to beside me because I want to see it more. It's funny. The reason why I took it to my floor, and I'm saying this for somebody because we're all in different places of our lives. I got scared of my vision board. I was like, this is impossible. I cannot achieve this. So rather than allow the fear make me sink in, I took it back to my prayer wall where I pray, and I put it on that floor. I said, I don't care, no problem. I'm scared of it. It's gonna become. Hold on, 1 second. That is okay. Second, sorry. I'm just going to my phone. 1 second. 1 second while I reshare it again. Admin, don't worry. I don't mind the fact that my phone. 1 second. That's what happens with I have to find the slide again. Just bear with me. Please, you can ask me a question in the meantime. Ask me questions while I try and bring back my slides from where they have disappeared to. 1 second. As a result of that call, my slides have disappeared on me. Interesting. Okay, I found it. I found it. Please bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to start to share again. It's okay if all of this is on, I don't mind. 1 second. Okay, I have to share again. Back to the meeting. Somebody had a question? Somebody said Zoom above. What does Zoom above mean? Okay, I only have 25 more minutes because I'm mindful of people's time. So I'm going to share again so that I can begin to come to a place where I can ask people questions. So I'm back here. So like I said, depending on where you are at, Okay, I'm back. Sorry, everyone, I kind of got cut off. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm back. Sorry, everyone, I got cut off. I kept speaking and I didn't realize that I was cut off. Apologies for that. Thank you for still being here. Okay, I've got 22 more minutes. And then I'm gonna read the message. Okay, somebody said they can hear me. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Just bear with me. Okay, fantastic. So I think where I stopped was I was saying that depending on the season that you're in, remember you're building based on your season. Um, things will happen in the middle, and I'm going to share something with you guys, a personal story. But for 2 years, I got scared of my vision board. That was a year's vision board, but COVID changed the direction of things for me. And I hid it. I would say I hid it, but I didn't hide it. I put it in a place of prayer. Now, but the truth is that for me, one thing I also did was I took my vision board, I took a picture of it, I printed the picture, I put it where I normally work by my desk, and I took the big vision board and I put it where I pray. I told myself it's not going to scare me, but I was very, very, very mindful of the fact that it will come to pass. And it's not by our own power, it's only by God that helps us, right? Now, what am I trying to say here? To do this vision board now, I'm going to go back to my most, and remember what I've said. I have smaller vision boards. This, in my reality, so this was my vision board for 1 year. So let me use in context of 1 year. This was my vision board for 2019. The year that I said I was broke, didn't know what I was doing. But remember what I said was my problem this year. So let's focus on what my problem was as of 2019. I was insecure, I was in debt, I was uncertain, I was scared, I was timid, I was broken. This was the vision board I built in 2019. I told myself I have to enjoy everything. I remember, for those that started here with me, I had just built a business that was 2 years old. And the business was struggling. This picture that I put here shows somebody with a team of people. I told myself I need to build a team of people around me. Did I end up having a strong team of God knows how many, 15 people? No. But what this picture spoke to me about was a team of people. This picture of Oprah, I like Oprah, said, "You've got talent." Yes, you. I was listening to her voice in my head saying, I have talent. And so I didn't need to be scared. This picture spoke about enjoy a moment of sunshine. So it meant that I needed to take a break and breathe more. This picture spoke to me about health. Of course, I was in debt. So I found something that said, what comes in on time and under budget? So I told myself I wanted to get out of debt. This was my vision board for 1 year. Did I achieve it that year? Absolutely, I did. Did I become Oprah? No, the point was not for me to become Oprah, but I found certain things that inspired me that no matter how the year went, when I looked at that, this is what I wanted to see of myself at the end of 2019. And so this is what was going to happen to me. Now, you see here, I put things like be more, my best life. I cut different things. A right heart exceeds also having the right heart. I put here, the 2019 was also the year I started to speak more. So I started developing my public speaking skills. And that was what this picture spoke to me about. I found a picture of somebody that was a strong public speaker and was interviewing somebody, and I cut it and I put here. But I built my vision board based on my 5 primary areas, which was debt, building a team. So being debt-free, building a team, using my gifts. You see what I'm saying? So you are trying to build it, and I just cut it. Back then you could use magazines. These days you can print pictures. You can print pictures, or you can also go on Amazon. If you go on Amazon and search for vision board magazines, Amazon will give you like magazines of things that you can aspire to, and you can, most of those magazines are like what, $10. You can cut them and put them on a cardboard. Get a cardboard. I mean, there's a board that they sell on in Dollarama for those that are in Canada. It's like a tough board. You can stick the cardboard on the tough board and put it in a place where, as let me tell you, this vision board will annoy you because you'll be like, what was I even thinking when I did it? But you remember what this thing says. It says, and I'm going to go back to what this scripture says. It says, write the vision, engrave it plainly upon tablets. Everyone who passes, as you pass it and is annoying you, it's a reference point for yourself that this is what I want to achieve in my life. So no matter what happens, you keep telling yourself, this is what I'm going to achieve, and I'm not backing out, because this is the end that you have painted for yourself for the end of the year. So remember, this was my vision board for 2019. And let me say this to you. In this same year, 2019, in the middle of the year, in June, I lost my father. So that means things will happen. My father passed away. My mother had cancer, but I still achieved my vision board. So the point is not to say that things will not happen. Things will happen that will deter you away, but you are constantly, you've put your own vision before you, and you've put it before God, and you've cut things that would inspire you to get up. Let me tell you, this my own vision board. This one has inspired me to get up every single time I'm in the lowest place of my life. Remember, I did in 2020. It was meant to be a 1-year vision board, but because of COVID, I turned it to a 5-year goal. Every time I felt low in my life, it has inspired me to get up. In 5 years, many things has happened to me. I have lost my two parents, my two parents-in-law. I've lost a baby. I've had a baby. I have done it all. I've been depressed. I have been overweight. Trust me, whatever can happen in 5 years has happened. But I can tell you, I have manifested my vision board. So my point here is, it's very scriptural to do a vision board. It doesn't mean things will happen in the middle. It doesn't mean the board will not annoy you, but it makes you know that this is where I want to see myself. So for somebody here, it might be maybe, and I'm going to say, maybe you're thinking of, like for me, my goal finances is to save for my retirement and things like that. I'm going to put a picture of myself in 20 years or 30 years where I want to be on my board. That picture is not to say that, is to inspire me to focus on my pension saving in this year, my finances, so that I begin to see, Dotun, you need to start saving for the future. And that is the picture I'm going to put on my vision board this year. I don't know if that makes sense. So whilst I may not be retiring, but it's going to inspire me to save more for the future. You see my point? Not future as at today, but future as at where I am going. So at the end of the year, I can tell myself, Dotun, that picture inspired you. So you are finding pictures that will strategically inspire you for where you're going. At this point, I'm going to stop because I just want to be able to share some notes with you guys. But I'm going to stop and ask questions because I only have 13 more minutes. Any questions? Has this been helpful? Has it given somebody something to do, what to think about? Questions? Remember, don't let me slip off. Questions or comments that, oh, Dotun, this has been great. This has not been helpful. This is something I'm going to sit down to think about. I'm going to do over the next 3 days. Okay, whilst we're waiting, if anybody has comments, questions, or whatnot, what I want to say is this, and I am gonna, there's something that I say. I say that, and I said it to the ladies 2 weeks ago. The way I live is I'm very intentional about the way I live my life. I'm very, I say that everybody's going to grow up, but not every, okay, somebody says it's very lots of things to think about and implement. Yes, and please make sure you do it. If you don't finish over the next 3 days, spend the next, like I said at the beginning, first week in the year, second week in the year, just God, before work happens. Yes. Today, I'm absolutely sure. Okay, thank you so much for that. So before life happens, right? In January, try and take time to do it. I remember what I said. A lot of us do. I mean, I don't know about people. I've always done vision board as any particular vision board from Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon, just search for vision board magazines. They will ask you, is it for a teenager? Is it for a man? Is it for a woman? You can search for vision board magazines for women. Most of them are $10, $12. And then another thing, and then they will put, I mean, if you look at them, they will put inspirational quotes on it, things like focus, things and you just sit down with a cardboard and cut it. Um, Honestly, the truth is, have I answered your question, Sister Mara? Or you can even download pictures off the internet. So for instance, the year that I wanted to take my health seriously, and pictures that I downloaded, I wanted to run that year. Because I like to run, I caught pictures of marathon and I just put it up on my board. And every time I didn't feel like doing it, I would just see the marathon. I'm like, so this is what you told yourself you're going to do this year. Yes, Pinterest is also very good. Yes. So you see, what you're doing is before life gets tough, before life gets difficult, you are putting the things that are going to inspire you in front of you so that when life gets tough, you know how to pick yourself up and say, I am not giving up. You know what I mean? I am not, you're basically telling yourself, this was my goal from the beginning. So why are we giving up? You might want to write an exam. Maybe there are so many things you can do. Print a picture. I mean, so you know that we all do vision boards. Some people will say, oh, I want to have a baby. Put a picture of a baby, buy the baby clothes. Those are things that are vision boards without you realizing. But when you're doing it for the year, you are being intentional, which is why I've given you the entire workbook. You're being intentional because you're looking back and you're looking forward. And that's why all those limitations, resources, you're building your goals in a very intentional manner. Remember what I said? If you had a therapist, you will be sitting with, most people sit down with a therapist at the end of the year, but you are going to be your own therapist. And that's why you're asking yourself these questions. I was going to say something that growing up, most people grow old, but growing up it's a very intentional thing. I'll say that again. Growing, like aging, is bound to happen to everybody, but growing up and experiencing a fulfilling life is a very intentional thing. Except you're intentional about your life, and I say this, most people that live successful lives are very intentional. You're very, very intentional about your life. When you do this, it will start to influence the places you go, the people you see, how you wake up, how you go to bed, what you do. As an example, my 5-year vision board has inspired me to pick myself up in my lowest time, my lowest of lows. I mentioned in 2021, remember what I said? In fact, maybe I should just share a picture with you guys so you would understand how life can happen to you in the middle. Let me share the picture. Hold on, I'm just gonna, 1 second. And the internet has frozen on me. Okay, can you guys share? There's a picture I'm trying to see. Okay, I think I can share. Admin, don't worry, I'll share it myself. There's a picture I want to see here. I want to share a picture with you guys, how life happens. This picture is 20, I'm showing you different years, different me. 2019 is the first picture, I lost my dad. 2021 is the picture in red, I lost my mom. I lost my mom, I had a baby, I lost the baby. 2020, the picture in blue is me in 2022, where I picked myself up. My point here is, and I mean, this year, 2022 or 2023, I started running again. I did 1 marathon. This year, I think I've done 3 half marathons. My point is, life will happen to you. It's bound to happen to you. But I told myself, every time I looked at this vision board, I asked myself, this is the kind of person I want to be. So why am I in the lowest point in my life? If this is the kind of person that I want to be, then the lady in red had to pick herself up. You see my point? Your paint that no matter what happens in my life, this is the person I want to be. So even when I go through my lady in red moments, I have to pick myself up. Do you see my point? You have to, it's telling you about where you want to be and how you need to pick yourself up. The most successful people are people that are intentional. Life will happen, but you need to be the kind of person. A few things, and I'm also going to share with us is some of the tools that I use is the rule of 1 minute a day. So if there are things that are on your vision board, start by doing 1 minute a day. I mean, example, maybe you're thinking of building a business. Just do 1 minute, or you're thinking of you want to read more, you want to improve yourself more. Do 2 minutes a day, 1 minute a day, close it, stop it. That's always my when things are difficult for me. I mean, my people around me know I just do 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day. I tell myself whatever setback, if I mess up. So for instance, maybe health, I wanted to be fit. I have one day of eating badly. It's okay. Pick yourself up and just do it. Pick yourself up and move on to the next thing. Fail forward. Even if you try something and you fail, you've told yourself how not to do it. I have a mantra that I say to people when you're old, the regrets that you will have is not, oh, I regret that I didn't do this. The regrets that you, or no, is the regrets that you have is that, oh, I regretted that I failed. No, the regrets you will have, the things that you wanted to do, but you never attempted to do it. Why didn't I start that business? Why didn't I? You will regret not living your life, right? So it's not, oh, I failed at this exam. That's not, what could have happened? What if I had just tried? You know, another thing I tell myself is do it for you, do it for yourself. That is my reason. I owe it to myself to live my best life. I owe it to myself. By the time I'm dead, I want to be empty. I don't want to be 70 and be trying to live my life through my children. No, 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 no. I want to do it for myself. I want to show up for myself. I am accountable to myself. You know, I do it for me. And even when you feel like people are kind of, what are people going to think? Please leave people where they are. What are people going to think? Leave them where they are. You know, I have a story I always share to people about my mom. When my mom passed, we wrote and it's a very personal story. On her tombstone, they wrote the dancing queen. My mom liked to dance. But guess what? Every time she liked to dance, she was always very, very mindful of, oh, what are people thinking? Maybe people think I'm dancing too much. Maybe people think that, oh, I'm gonna stop sharing. Maybe people think, oh, I'm dancing too much. Maybe people think, guess what? That one thing she always thought people were criticizing her for, when she died, that was the one thing people were praising her for. They used to say, oh, she lived her life, she just lived her life, you know, for for herself. And they wrote it on her tombstone, the dancing queen. But guess what? She used to criticize herself a lot about that one thing. So forget about what people are going to think. Feel forward, do it, and just ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be at the end of 2025? I'm one person, I like to cheer people on. I like to see people succeed at their goals. Surround yourself with the right people. Another thing I always do, if I do this, I tell some people you need to mute them on your social media. They might be, maybe the way they live their life is tensioning you. There's one of my friends, she laughed when I told her. There was a season in my life I was really, really, like I said, I was depressed, but she's a very intentional person. Guess what I did? I muted her on my social media because she was frustrating me. She laughed. She said, why did you do that? I said, because you were giving me tension. you know, maybe there's some people you need to mute on your social media because they're just making you feel like insecure. And you just don't want to, the moment you go on social media, you see their feed, you just feel like you're not doing anything with your life. Maybe somebody that is, one of my friends is climbing up the ladder in her career. Me, I have young children. Like, I've muted you on my social media because I'm not going to let you tension me. Those kind of things are the things that you are guarding your mind, you are protecting your mind because you're building something. You're building your life. You are building your life is more than worth guarding everything for. I really, really, really hope that this has been useful. I'm kind of going to round up now. I hope this has been useful for every single person that woke up early. Take your time, use the tools, use everything in there for your vision board. For those that maybe might want to be gingered, along the way, every week I have a newsletter. I'm always gingering everybody around me. I share lessons that I'm learning along my own journey. If you want to sign up for the newsletters I send them every Sunday night. The link is there. Or if you go to my website, my name, you can also see the link. You can sign up for my newsletters. I am always sharing tips, what I'm learning, what I'm going through personally in my life. I'm always and always sharing it. So you can sign up for the newsletters. Also, for people that might be parents here, because this is a faith-based platform, I did something, and also I forgot to mention this. Yes. In the handbook, you will see I left the section for affirmations. You have to learn to affirm yourself. When they say affirm yourself, I'm the best thing after sliced bread. Yes, you are. I'm a big, in fact, let me tell you how big I am on affirmations. I have 7 affirmations. I have one a day. It's like a tablet. I have one I say on Monday. I have one I say on Tuesday, one I say on Wednesday, one I say on Thursday. I'm speaking about that's how intentional about, for instance, on Thursday, I'm speaking about my children. I'm praying for my children. I've taken my time to write those affirmations down on paper and I'm saying them. So one of my friends, they do affirmations based on their vision board. I'm the most successful person in my career. I am this. Guess what? There are days you'll be saying that affirmation and you're thinking, who is this person? She does not even exist. But guess what? The more you tell yourself something, the closer you're bringing it to yourself. How can we get some of the resources? Yes, Oida, they're going to post it again in the chat. You can get some of the resources from the online. Also, for those that joined late, the entire session is on my YouTube. So you can go back, you can rewatch, you can also sign up, subscribe to my YouTube page. One of the things I'm challenging myself to do next year. So yeah, the entire thing is on my YouTube page. And admin, can you post the link for the resource here? And please post on the YouTube for people can download as well. So yeah, so affirm yourself. In fact, let me tell you how powerful it is, how powerful I speak of affirmations. There was the year I was insecure, I had a mentor make me affirm myself, say positive things about myself 3 times a day. I didn't understand it, but you have to affirm yourself. If it's, I'm financially free, whatever you want to achieve this year, find a word and write it and keep declaring. If you might tell yourself, I want to declare it every week, every 2 days, every 3 days, please do that. And for me, in terms of affirmation, I just did this. I just released this yesterday. I've just created affirmations for children based on scripture. So for those of you that might have children here, the ages 8 and above, you might want to download that. Ages 8 and above is Scriptural Confessions for Children as well. It's online, it's an ebook, it's free. Download it, print it yourself, give it to your children, because I'm a strong believer on affirming yourself. And I think that a lot of our children, okay, a lot of our children need that affirmation. So if admin can share the link or the website to download the free confessions for children, it's www.iamalightbearer.com. They'll put that in the chat, www.iamalightbearer.com. It's confessions for children. Print it for free for your children. It's 7 days. They can take one a day like a pill. Take one a day and keep confessing it over themselves. I'm really thankful for this session. Thank you for everyone that joined in. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing amazing goals. You all did amazing things. Yeah, and please stay connected with me. And please, this is a faith-based platform. Please pray about your goals. I cannot underestimate that. Pray about your goals. If something seems unachievable to you, pray about it. Take it back to God. He made you and say, God, I cannot achieve this. I pray about everything. My health, overeating. I still prayed about it 2 days ago. I felt like I was overeating during Christmas. I was like, oh, why am I overeating? Pray about every single thing. Every single thing. Yes. So you can go back and rewatch this on yeah. So pray about every single thing. Every single thing on your goals. Whether it's remember I said to you, I built my own vision board in 2020. I was scared of it. I put it where I pray. Find your what's it called? And put it somewhere strategic. Pray about it. Because one thing I know, God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or imagine. I really pray that this 2025 is a blessed year for all of us. I pray that God goes ahead of you. I pray that God blesses all the work of your hands. And I pray that remember that in everything that you're doing, you are shining for God, and go out and shine your light. God bless you so much, ladies. Thank you for joining the session with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.